things that I don't like about living in an apartment, not just because the next door decide to do renovation that cause a lot of inconvenience, but some other things. For example, this is in case of emergency, fire got caught in a brand new apartment or any existing apartment. That's could potentially put your life at risk, due to an appliance fail, a kitchen appliance failure, refrigerator failure, power failure. So, people try to get out of the building. So otherwise get fire, burned. So in case of fire, emergency situations is, is dragging you into the problem. So this is the thing I don't like. So that is the number one thing that I don't like about living in an apartment. In case of fire, and that's it. You've got no time to get down, then you get stuck. But that's the main reason. It's really a fire emergency situation that caught me in between. That I don't like to live in an apartment for that reason. And you may think it's simple as the building on fire. We try to get out. What happened is the lift's stuck. The power cut off to it, and got no way to escape. Not your fault, someone else's fault, or unintentionally or intentionally. Most of the time, unintentionally, the fire break out due to kitchen apply or some other unknown reason. So very dangerous for me, from my point of view, that living in a common residential building areas such as this. Second thing about living in a common buildings, residential building, a unit or a flat or whatever it might be in a common residential area is that you have to share with a very expensive Strata's management fee. And you can see that in 10 years it will cost you probably anything between 33,000 to 65,000 depend on what proposal you're taking maybe. So this is just a number. I just whack it based on the static available. But yeah, so living in an apartment could be very expensive in terms of additional strata management fee. The other thing is that I believe that you don't own anything apart from a unit of air. So example, your apartment is a massive 300 square meters with many rooms, and the what you own is that 300 square meter unit of air. So basically, whatever in your room, the cubic meter of air that you own. Because why I'm saying that? Because you will not allow to do any alteration because the unit you're living in have common structures with all other units. So therefore, there's strictly strata management policy stating that any renovation is not allowed until the management strata management team or the owner corporation approving it. So it makes sense because when we do renovation or a person might do renovation, may touch the common building structures like a beam or something that could bring down the building. So you're not allowed to cut that rod off. But basically, that's what it's all about. You're not allowed to move your kitchen example from one position to the next. You're not allowed to realterate your bathroom, toilet, for example, or the plumbing and electrical, everything's wired in, everything's in place. So concrete, not allowed to change anything. And like you have the freedom to do whatever you like in your own house or freestanding house. But look, this is the thing I don't like. It's my opinion again. The second thing about living in a common building, residential building, and whether it's apartment or unit, this is the additional strata management and some other restriction about the place that you're living in that I personally don't like about it. So the third thing I don't like about living in an apartment is that all of these rubbish bin in front of the buildings, and in this common residential area is where all the rubbish bin are collected or placed in front of the buildings, and it's very unattractive. views, but also, very unhygienic. You can imagine all this smell of the rubbish that rotten, and so on. So this is the thing I don't like about living in an apartment. The four things I don't like living in an apartment is that any airborne disease, and those that can be contagious, or pass through via the people breathing, and it's kind of airborne disease. So we got a number of those throughout the years, and those are very fatal, can be fatal. So those disease can be fatal. So that's the fourth thing. I don't like living in an apartment where there's a lot of close proximity between the people get in contact, the people live in the same place, that these airborne disease can be easily passed on to a person. So, in a common building, residential building, there's a lot of um, people, very crowded place. It can be, whether you can be in your standalone house, and you don't have to worry about it. But yeah, so that's another reason that why I don't like living in an apartment. So again, it's just my personal preferences, but those are the four things that I don't like about living in an apartment. It's due to that. So the fourth thing that I don't like living in an apartment is fire. Emergency fire, expensive strata management fee that you have to pay, but also you have a commitment to not own and do any renovations, and you own just a unit of space, I believe. And the third thing I don't like about living in an apartment again is rubbish and in front of the buildings. And the fourth thing is, of course, any airborne disease. It could easily pass on if you live in a high density or crowded place. So that is my personal view. Thanks again, Guy, for watching these videos.